Yo, JP, kick us off, man.
Yeah, yo, this is JP kicking it with the Basic Buzz crew. Coming up on the next episode. Hold up. We're talking about food, culture, and hip hop. Let's get it.
Yup. Before we start, I got great announcement, big announcement. We finally scored our first sponsor. We got Embroidery 805
Nice.
out of Oxnard, Cali. If you ever need anything printed on pretty much anything, straight to garment printing is the hot shit right now. They got the machine for that. They take care of all your printing needs. The guys who operate the shop, real cool dudes. You can catch them on Instagram, Embroidery 805. Tell them the Basic Buzz sent you. What's up, JP?
What's up, man? Thanks for having me. This is a long time coming, but
It is a long time coming, man. Dude, so you are actually one of the inspirations for this podcast, right?
No.
So I'm gonna intro you a little bit differently and tell kind of like the story about what happened. You cook, right? And we were at an event that you were cooking at with your crew, and one of the people there was somebody who operates a pretty good podcast, right? Like a pretty well known podcast that interviews people in the food industry, chefs, so on and so forth. So I sat down with her, and I was like, "You enjoying your food? You enjoy JP stuff?" And I said, "What's up? Why don't you get my boy on your show?" Right? And she kind of curved me a little bit, talking about, maybe and I'm not gonna say the name of the show, but it did reference like alcohol. So I was like, man, we're a cool group of guys, right? We'll get up on your show, we'll get all faded, talk shop, talk about food. JP knows what's up, and she's like, well, we don't do that kind of stuff on my show. We don't do that ghetto stuff on. So at the end of the day, I was like, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna start our own stuff. And showcase JP, and so you were kind of like the inspiration and one of the first people who we wanted to talk to, just because you put in so much work in the food game, coming up out here in LA and really doing what you love. Everybody should admire somebody who does something they enjoy. So big ups to you, man.
Oh, appreciate it, man. That's inspiring knowing that, like, you can spark something else, but that's all you.
Yeah, man.
You put this show together. You brought all these people together, and out of necessity or just you doing you. You want to create something for yourself, and so big ups to you, all the Basic Buzz crew, because I've been here since day one, and that first episode, and once you started explaining like your ideas, what you want to do, and you put in work for this, and so big ups to the show, big ups to you, Dan and Brian and Paul, and I wouldn't be here unless if something that inspired you will in turn inspire me. So
my
big ups to
man,
you guys.
my man. And for those of you who are just listening and not watching the video, because most of our people just listen, we have a box in front of us. I don't even know how to explain it, but JP will.
Oh, I didn't even notice that.
Oh, this huge thing that's like blowing heat in your face. Okay, so this is a Bincho grill, all right, and I bought this for myself for Christmas like 2 years ago. It was pretty penny, but I wanted to play, and I'm all about toys and getting cool shit to work with. And this particular box got a Bincho grill, short for Bincho time, and it pretty much highlights the grill, but less of the grill, but more of the coals that's used to burn it, right? So these are Binchotan coals. It comes straight from Japan, and it's a type of oak that's a little different than your Kingsford or your regular store-bought coal, your charcoal, because it burns at a way higher degree, somewhere in like the 600 to 800 degrees, and
I feel it.
right, you're sweating balls over there. All right, so the significance of that, or what's so special about the coal, is also that it burns higher, it's smokeless, and whatever we put on top of here, we brought some goodies for us to taste, but it burns at a high degree, gets that sear, that crust, and there's really actually no flavor into the coals. Like sometimes you'll see mesquite or oak or whatever flavoring to flavor your meats, but it's smokeless and it's flavorless. Where you get the flavor and where you get that little extra touch is from whatever drips on down of it, and whether it be fat, moisture, whatever it is, it smokes a little bit, maybe a lot. We'll see what happens here. But
So what actually makes it smokeless?
I can't say.
Probably the coals.
Yeah.
Right. How much are these coals, man? You told me earlier. Tell the people.
I mean, this ain't your regular box of coals. It is a pretty penny. It's like $100 for maybe like 30 pounds or whatever. But you know, it's worth it because I think I use this as and a lot of chefs use them as an ingredient in their product, whatever they're cooking. But you know, when you're cooking delicate things and you want to treat them right, so you got to surround them with nice products and nice techniques. And so that's why I bought this grill.
Cool. So we're gonna be grilling on the show.
Yeah. So what motivated me and kind of inspired me with what you guys are doing here. It's like we're just a bunch of dudes just chilling, right? We're just everyday kind of talk and as basic as you get it. You come from your backgrounds, everyone comes from their backgrounds, and kind of talk layman's terms about really cool shit. So in that, we're just chilling inside, and this is a way we drink. This is a way we have munchies, and so in our culture, it's pulutan. We're just sitting around a table on a Saturday afternoon, just chilling. So that's inspiration because this is more of a community thing, and because I ain't fucking cooking all this shit. You guys are helping me, all right?
So bring it back. How did you?
Let's get some meat on.
How did you get into cooking?
Put it up a little bit.
Yeah, how'd you get into cooking?
All right, it goes way back, but I didn't grow up like a lot of chefs, thinking, I'm gonna be a chef, I'm gonna cook. You ate, you did your thing. I was a normal kid growing up in the west side of LA, and I had different aspirations of what I wanted to do in life, and a lot different than what I'm doing now. But let's see where that goes. A lot different. We're putting some, for those you can't see, we're putting some meat on the grill. Let's see, we get some eating going on.
And what do we have there? What are you putting on?
Oh, this is just chicken thighs, dark meat.
Chicken thighs.
Yeah, marinated in a little salt. So, the beginning of what is just.
Yeah, I'll do that while you talk.
All right. Me growing up and not having the background of me wanting to cook, or we grew up thinking you should go to school and find a career. Or your parents kind of lead you that way, and you go to a good school, you go to college, you go through whatever, and then you find a career, just similar to what all your families probably let you know, because I remember you guys touched upon that point way back in the day. And one day when I was, I think I was 18, first year of college, I was looking for a job, right? I was like, all right, I'm going to school, I'm going to CSUN, I'm going to go for who knows what. You're undecided when you're around that time. And you're trying to look for a job, you want to get a car, you're your own man at that time,
Wait, hold up, back up. Where'd you go to high school, man?
Oh, I went to Beverly on the west side. Yeah. All right.
Did you see Dylan McKay?
Oh, no, that was West Beverly, bro. That was West Beverly, but.
Oh, that was West Beverly.
Yeah. I went to Beverly Hills 90212.
90212. All right, and then you went, and then you were just kind of going to school, doing your thing. Did you know what you wanted to do in high school, or even at a younger age? If it wasn't cooking, did you know what you wanted to be? Basketball player or something?
I wish, right? Come on, I'm like freaking 5'6", like $120. I'm not.
I wanted to be a ball player, but go ahead. What would you want to be, man?
I was really inspired by my parents. Growing up, I had it good. I went to a good school, had a great upbringing. Mom and dad were home. No, not really home. They worked their ass off, but
sure.
I was left with a good upbringing, and I had my brothers to look after me, and at that time my parents were really doing their own thing, taking care of the business, and it kind of comes full circle a little bit because in some small way my parents, or in a big way, were in the hospitality business. We own hotels and apartment buildings, and my dad was able to come here to the States back in the early 70s, and kind of made a name for himself and worked his ass off and worked in different real estate offices and had a lot of business ventures. My parents were educated in the Philippines, but when you come over here, they kind of had to start from scratch and earn and claw their way through to make it to the States, you know.
Yeah, they hustle hard then.
Yeah, just
They
like
hustle
all
hard
my
and
parents.
came up. It sounds like because you're in Beverly Hills, man. They got it. They had to be balling, bro.
Yeah, you know, I can't say it wasn't bad, but you know, I'm super fortunate for that,
Absolutely.
right? So growing up, you know, my brothers had a huge influence on me. You know, they're around me all the time.
You're the youngest, right?
I'm the youngest. I'm Bunsu. You guys know what that meant, man. That's like that. That's like for those who don't know. That's the youngest of the family, and so is Brian right there. So that's why we get along so well.
Shout out to the babies.
That's right. And so I grew up with 3 older brothers, and all 3 of whom helped raise me to the person I am today because we all share the same characteristics as our parents. They know the values, the way to work hard. You know, like we just took care of each other, and they were super protective over me and took me everywhere they went. Right, and you know, I felt a little bit sheltered, protected, because not necessarily my mom and dad were around. They were around a lot, but it was more so my brothers who just like looked after me and really made me the person I am. But you know, we got some stories back in the day. We'll go forward, but yeah, my brothers are a huge influence on me, and so
Hell yeah. Shout out to the bros.
so growing up and trying to find my way, you know, I played a lot of sports in high school, elementary. Like my brothers were just like sports heads, and we just like whether it's throwing the ball around or going across the street, throw the baseball around, just like we're always getting to something. They're all super athletic, and we just dig sports. And you know, that was one big, huge connection that we had with another. So growing up, you know, I went to Beverly, and then you know I wanted to play football because my 2 older brothers wanted to play football too.
What
right?
positions you play, man?
I was DB wide receiver. That's where they put all the small guys, by the way. When you don't have a position, it's like, all right, just make him a DB wide receiver. But you know, that goes a little deeper because you know, back in the day, Chris. You know,
That's your brother.
That's my brother. That's my the one closest to me.
OG, yep.
Yeah. I used to follow him everywhere. This dude used to like go places and took me places, and you know, I was just like a little tail. That's what they call me. I just follow him all around.
Yeah.
I'd go to all his practices, his football practices, basketball practice, because you know I had nothing else to do, and you know I looked up to him. And so, round circle is, you know, I grew up going to being the water boy at his games. Like I did free passes to go on the field and chill with the team, and it was good times, you know. During the summertime, like what makes it feel right now, like we'd go to passing leagues and go different places, and this guy would take me along. So the coaches would, you know, they were drawn to me because I was there every day. Like they can't get rid of this kid.
Yeah.
And like the guys on the side, like who didn't play, they'd like play ball with me. They'd like fucking play catch, and so I was like a little tag along, little team mascot, and I'd become their water boy too. So it was dope. On Friday nights, I'd get a little early from my elementary school, and I would I'd be their water boy, and I'd go like, you know, hang out with kids who were way older than me. You know, my brother, Chris is 5 years older than me.
Yeah, yeah.
Right, and like I just
You
be
hang
tagging
out with
along.
girls older than you too?
Yeah. So, you know, coming around, and when Chris graduated and whatever, and I came through high school, I knew I wanted to play football.
That was your okay. So you wanted to play,
knew.
but you wanted to play ball. But did you play for Beverly?
Yeah, I did. Not the 4 years, but 3. Now I'll go into that. So I came in as a freshman. You know, played football. You know, everyone plays at that time, and then team is huge, and then you know you have all these new faces. You know, it was a great social part of my life because you know you're coming to new schools, you're meeting new kids, and you know it's a way to connect with other people, not just the people you went to elementary school with.
Yeah.
And then you know I played sophomore year, and that was the shit because you know, as you guys know, like freshman year the teams are like crazy big, and then sophomore year everyone drops off, and you know you get a little more PT.
Hey.
And first of all, I can't say I'm the best athlete, you know, but I showed up.
Hell yeah.
And so, junior year, my dad goes, this is my time, my dad was still around, he goes, you can't play football next year.
Straight up?
Yeah. He goes, why? I go, why? I'm like, you know, I'm super sad. And he's like, you got to get your grades up. You know, junior year, you got to like, you know, prepare yourself, go to college. Like, so it was prepping me. I
Oh,
was
it's
super
not
pissed.
necessarily you were fucking up. Were you
I
fucking
mean, I
up?
wasn't the best student, but I'm just
Yeah.
gonna say that I got steered off a little bit. But it was Pops who said, "You're not gonna play, and you're gonna, growing up, we just help him in the office, do this and that, filing, or whatever he needed. Like what 8-year-old or 9-year-old would do book reports on like Forbes magazines or like read Business
Wall Street
Newsweek.
Journal.
I'm like,
Yeah.
he had me do book reports on that stuff. I'm like, oh man. And so that junior year, he's like, all right, you're not gonna play football. You're gonna go in the office. You're gonna help me. And so, that lesson alone taught me like, all right, get your priorities straight. There's consequences to certain actions, and if you don't get your shit together, this is what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
So, life happens, things happen, and during that same year, shortly after that, he passed. He had a stroke, and
I'm sorry. How old were you when this
I was
happened?
15,
15,
16, going to my junior year.
That's rough, man.
But he already told me that, I was not gonna play. All right, so that was a huge hit on me. Growing up as a kid, and your dads are around, but and then he kind of instilled those life lessons already before us. In those 16 years, I had the privilege to have him around, and so I took those life lessons. I was like, hey, all right, get your shit together. But I also had my brothers too, because they looked after me also. And so junior year, I didn't play. Went through that stuff, went through those life lessons, and then senior year, he wasn't around anymore. So I said, Dad, I'm gonna play football. I'm already accepted to CSUN. So, I did all my shit that year, got all my shit together, and, I'm going to a pretty decent college, right?
Were you looking to play for the Matadors?
Oh, yeah, right, dude. I don't even think that time they had a team, dude. No, they did. They
did have a team.
They did, but like 2 years after, like they kind of fell off. But,
Yeah.
it was school. Reason I went to CSUN was my second eldest brother, Erwin. He went to CSUN. So it's like, you see the paths of people, of especially your mentors, and you're like, all right, I want to go there too. And they've got a great business program, because that's kind of what I wanted to do. My dad was a businessman. He was an entrepreneur. And, I kind of wanted to follow that path. He was my hero. And so getting into there, I didn't know necessarily at the time I wanted to go in business, but at the same time, like, I should find something, some side hustle, get some cash so I can, maybe get a car soon, or, go out and just have some cash, be your own man a little bit, earn your own money. And this one job that I looked, I forgot where it was, probably in the Penny Saver or somewhere.
The
And
Penny Saver.
No,
Young fools don't know about the Penny Saver.
There was no
I'm not even
Craigslist
talking
back
about the
then.
Penny Saver.
Probably not, but
That was like Penny Saver was like the Craigslist in paper form, right? Right, Paul? Remember
Original
that?
Craigslist, yeah.
that's how you got. That's how you knew how to buy shit or find things
Yeah.
or whatever it was, right? So there's one job. It said, I figure if I want to go into business, I should probably do something business related or selling. And so there's one telemarketing company, and they were close to my apartment near the school, and they're like, all right, come out. And then I don't know shit.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I've never had any interview experience or job skills or anything, how to act. And I went over there, and it was a group interview. And like, I'm sitting with like 15 other candidates, and I'm like scared shitless. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do. Like, I can't even tell you what I said, but short of it is I didn't get the job. And it was a bummer, just because, you get psyched up for something and you try to prepare, and you're like, you don't get it. And so at that very moment, this is at about like the interview was around like 11. I came, I was hungry. It was about lunchtime. I said, all right, I'm going to go to the supermarket right next to my house, right? And I went over there, and it's like, fuck it. I want a job. Let me apply. So I'm sitting there in this cheesy tie, this suit, this suit that doesn't probably fit me, and then like these slacks, and I'm like, can I get application? Straight up in the line. And, it didn't really, it was, I won't say more of desperation, but it was just like, all right, let's make something out of nothing. And I applied right there, got a job, and I was what they call a courtesy clerk. Fancy word for bagger. And, I did that for like a month, and then where the true calling came professionally was when a dude saw me work. I was, you bag groceries, you do pretty much, you're the bitch of the restaurant, of the of the store. You do sweeping, you do push carts, whatever. And then this guy saw me work and he said, all right, you want to work in the meat department? And I'm like,
Said the meat
the
department.
meat department. And big up to Danny Mora. Like, he's probably one of my first mentors back in the day. Not only do we share the last name, but like he was a huge impact on me because
You guys related?
no, we weren't. He was not even close, but we had the same last name. But he called me out and he's like, "Hey, you want to work in the meat department? I need someone." And so I went over there, and that I think where the love for food and being around like cuisine was born. Like when I went over there, like I was cleaning guts. I was like pushing like beef scraps on the floor. Like it was gross, Some days like I was still going to school full time, and when I went there in the summertime, they said, "All right, go throw up the fish case or go make a display of the fish." And I'm like, "All right, cool." And then I'd probably have to go. I went to summer school, and that same day, it's like, dude, I smell like fish. Like I'm sitting there like in the bathroom, just like rubbing lemons and limes over me because I stank.
They're like, man, you had a wild night, bro.
Yeah, not me. I was just working my ass off trying to make it happen.
How long were you at the strip club?
But at least to say, it was Northridge, and it was like you get 100+, and so I stank smelling of fish guts
Nice.
going to class, and so that's where the real love of like handling food came, and the meat department was where it was at.
Word. Oh, so I've been focusing on this chicken, and I just tried one right now. What's in this,
Oh,
man?
dude.
This is really good, dog.
It's just chicken thighs because dark means best, and then you gotta do this, dude. I got some side dipping sauces for you. So everyone, get in there. Don't be shy.
And when you eat, don't do it too close to mic. Then all of a sudden it's gonna sound like what's that shit that you watch, Paul? Mukbang? What is it? Mukbang? When you're watching girls eat food and it's loud chomping.
Yeah, man.
Dude,
Yeah,
that's
don't try not to eat on.
that's a freaky fetish, man.
It's
Like
freaky,
who
dog.
says like, oh, I want to hear you eat.
It's freaky, but somebody sent one to me, and I watched 4 minutes of it, dude. It was weird. There was like microphones in their mouth. Okay, what is this? What is this? Pesto?
Try that. So that's a little pesto. It's just oil, a little parsley, and some herbs.
Yeah.
And then that right there, this is another sauce. You can just pat this by you and just dip what you eat.
Yeah. So Paul, help me out here, man, because you know what's up with a lot of this stuff. But from what JP was talking about, trying to find himself, obviously he went through some trials and tribulations in high school, real tough. Anytime you lose anybody, really, let alone your dad, right? You mentioned before, we talked a little bit about teen angst and stuff like that. And I think what JP went through is not very uncommon to what a lot of us go through. But there was a turning point, right? In terms of what you want to do. So, in terms of doing what you're doing now.
Yeah.
And you're saying Vaughn's is a starting point.
Yeah, man. Vaughn was where I kind of grew up and learned so many life skills, people skills.
Yeah.
Because
And let me interrupt you. You said you didn't get that job you really wanted at the
sales, and
at the
marketing.
sales. And at the
calling.
time, it's a bummer.
Mhm.
But man, when you look at things in hindsight, that's the best shit that could have ever happened to you, bro.
Yeah. I'm glad I
Man,
didn't
imagine,
get
you know what I mean, getting trapped in that cycle,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
But yeah, and then so would you say that Vaughn's was kind of like your gateway into the food game?
Yeah, for sure. Not even knowing it though.
Not even knowing.
Not even knowing that. Like, I just want to earn some cash. I get minimum wage was like $11, $12 at the time. Just happy to get what I get, and kind of moving up there. I was able to go to the meat department, like bust my butt there, and then went to different departments. I went to the produce, dairy deli, stocker. Like I would come in the middle of the morning and stock boxes, whatever was needed, and so a lot of that has to do with what I enjoyed the most was the teamwork aspect of it, because you go in the store and there's different parts of it, and that's where I think relying on other people, following other people's leads, and just being a good employee just kind of came out. But I think the second single most thing that I got from there was hospitality, and in that environment, you have to really be hospitable to people and to buy your stuff. And we used to have these secret shoppers, what they call it, and they would come in and test you on your knowledge of what certain sales or customer service skills you have, and like you got to be on your game. And so one of the things that stood out to me was the word GAT stop, right? This is it's like an acronym for like certain qualities you need to like have to be good.
Gap, spell that.
GATSTOP, and it's like G, greet the customer. O, offer samples, or that's A. G, offer samples, and I'm not going to hold a rude list, but then you thank them by their last name, you anticipate their needs, you take them to the products, you answer questions, and you also, one of the biggest ones is cross selling. So one of the acronyms is part like the suggestive sell. All right, so you go in there and you even though if you don't know what it is or what product it is, you got to fake it. And you gotta, that's just part of the sales part.
You got a front.
You got a front, but at the same time, it's like, yeah, so in that regard, like you knew how to deal with people and how to get them to suggest a sale. Like, hey, you gotta try this one because it goes good with that. You gotta try this marinade with this meat because it goes really good. But faking it and trying to learn that way also makes you have to learn it yourself, because at the end of the day, you got to be genuine. Faking it is a good thing, but then after a while, you want to know what products you're talking about. You want to talk the game. And what I would do is ask like all these things, in the supermarket, all these ladies, these house moms or whoever came to the store. Like we used to have firemen come, and they're like, hey, how are you going to cook this meat? How are you going to do that? What are you going to do with this? And so it was a back and forth. It was not just me spitting whatever to sell. It was a lot more of going in there and asking people, just be comfortable, say, hey, how are you going to cook that? What are you going to do? Like, and then I would use that in my repertoire to suggest to other people. Mm-hmm. And, it was genuine. And that was part of me just wanting to learn more shit.
Right on, man. Paul, you're going to have to talk about I'm eating.
The sauce is really good.
Yeah, which one?
You want to explain? The pesto is pretty good.
Try that one right there.
Oh, yeah, okay. This one I'm going to save. This is another sauce, but there you go. That's patis maple syrup.
What's the...
Patis is this fish sauce, the Filipino fish sauce. So a little sweet and a little salty. Is it good? You guys
That's
ready?
a bomb.
So how are you eating around this time?
Pardon me?
How are you eating around this time?
How am I eating?
Yeah, how were you eating? Like, what were you eating?
Oh, man,
like,
I
doing
was-
all this?
And what year was that?
Basic. This is probably 1999. I worked for there for 5-6 years, so maybe 1998 to 1990, 2004 or 5. And so I did a good portion of it there. And by the time I left, I ended up becoming a supervisor. That was just the next obvious step. And at the time,
Supervisor of the meat department?
no, just of the store.
Oh,
Yeah,
shit.
key carrier. I had responsibility of handling cash, and, taking care of customers, closing around the shops, closing down the supermarket, and that was my first taste of management at 22, 23, and that was big too, because you have to lead people, you got to tell people what to do, or and so people skills and learning to work with others was a skill that I learned from that. But I didn't know what I was doing back then. Like you just have to be genuine in how you work with people.
Yeah, what were you eating, bro?
Oh, what was I eating? Mm-hmm. Off topic. Burgers, tacos, anything that was college kids food. It wasn't necessarily extravagant, but I'd eat at diners. I love eating at diners. I know those fake Tomies. Tommy's number like 72, like 1M. That's the stuff I grew up on. In addition to like Filipino food, but that's what got me through college, because that was my money. So, but my palate at that time was not very developed. I didn't know I was going to get into it, and at the same time, you don't care. You just want to sustain yourself because you're a starving college kid. So, kind of going around, like after I had graduated, I found an office job, and it was for a banking job, and I thought that's what I was going to get into. And when you think you're going to get into there and you're going to like it, like, all right, your life's set, or all right, this is what I'm going to be doing, and I'll be comfortable doing it. I hated it. I got laid off twice. You're sitting in the cubicle. With a bunch of respect, there's a certain discipline to do office work and be in there, and it's got its
Yeah, tell me about it.
right. And I didn't want to go in that route because I wanted to have the background of working with my hands and being my feet and talking in the locker room with the meat department guys again. That's what's like, all right, that's what I want to do.
Hey, okay, go on. I'm so sorry. You hated office
I hate
work.
office work.
And you wanted to be in the mix with the fellas.
As much as I want to be a white collar guy, deep down, I want to be a
Because that's what you
guy.
thought the past was. That's why I was referring to Paul. Because we talked about this and talking about like in traditional means that shit don't really should be flying anymore, right? Like, and that's how we grew up.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You
find
work
a job.
hard. You find a job.
Mhm.
Kind of do that.
Yeah.
Whatever.
And our parents and our culture tells us, we're Filipino, tells us, you go to your education, you go find your job, and you stay there. Like, how many of our parents did the same thing forever, and was okay with that, and that was the quality of life. That's what you wanted to do. And circumstances happens that out of your control, and when you get laid off, or you just try to kind of have a chance to reflect and figure out what you really want to do. And so at that time, when I was probably 29, it took me a while to graduate, by the way. I was on the 7-year plan.
Right on.
At that time, I was like 28, 29, and I said, let's do something we want to get back into. And so I had a fat severance, had some unemployment. I said, all right, I have some time off. Like, let's go to culinary school, because that's something that I think I would enjoy. Plus, also knowing some people in the business already, not even knowing that I want to get in there. And I said to this one chef, I said, hey, what do I got to do? What you got to do? And shout out to Chef Gina Moy. She's the one who set me on a path to go to culinary school, to a certain chef. And I learned so many skills from that. But, just having that network and finding out who to talk to get where you want to get. And so that was, at that time, that was probably 2009 or 10.
Oh wow. Okay. Now you mentioned something before. You talked. Well, earlier you said that your dad passed away at a very early age, and he wanted to provide you with a foundation of what he knew about working hard and coming up. And I've heard, and when we've talked in the past, you also talked about how your mom had a big influence on quite the opposite, in where she recognized what your passion was.
Yeah.
And she highly supported that.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, my mom, bless her soul, she was not overbearing. She let us do what we wanted to do. She was supportive of, hey, you want to be a fireman? Be a fireman. You want to go business? Go to business. So there was, I never
just go hard though, whatever.
Yeah,
right?
whatever it is.
Yeah,
exactly. You're right. But she instilled, a lot of open-endedness of what we want to be as people, as professionals. And when I decided, like, hey, I want to go to culinary school, she was like on board 100%. He's like, you mean you got to cook for me all the time? Because I never used to cook as much. Maybe dabble here and there, bring some meat home from the meat department, or just make a little lunch. But at the end of the day, she's like super supportive, and I can't thank her enough for that, because I would do. She was still around when I was going to culinary school, and I'd bring home samples of whatever I made that day, or some kind of bread, or anything I made, and she was just like, oh, that was really nice. She was very excited for me, even knowing, like, I don't know what I was doing, but she's like, and she would have me cook all the time for anyone who came over, and so she was really proud of me as far as the path I chose, and she was super supportive. So in that time, like, she, maybe a year after that, I went to culinary school. She got this weird sickness, and it was cancer. We don't know what it was. We don't know how it came about, but she was healthy as a bull her whole life. She never got sick. She worked her butt off, just the same way as, like, my dad. And she just developed this cancer. Heard the news, and then in the course of about a year and a half, she had passed. And so how this relates to, what I do and how I see it is, she pretty much didn't have an appetite throughout their whole treatments or chemo or
Yeah.
she had a colostomy bag. She couldn't go to the bathroom. She couldn't eat. She had no appetite. Very similar to a lot of the struggles that a lot of our family members who've had that disease. Bigs up to Jamie for beating that, but that's also very it's close to home for a lot of us. And it's good to me because now I focused where I said, all right, what I do matters. Because if you ever seen someone have that sickness and not be able to eat, it's numbing. It's like, I can cook whatever you want, I can make whatever you want, but you have no appetite. And essentially she kind of just like wilted away because she was a frail woman, 110, whatever, and then by the
years old, right? 110 pounds.
Yeah, 110 pounds, and then
Yeah.
by the end, she was just like a little twig, and a lot of it has to do with just malnutrition, the chemotherapy, and us also not finding out or the doctors not finding out how to cure whatever she had. It was
Yeah.
still unattainable what she had, and so, I took it as a challenge to myself, like seeing that and taking food to a different level of seriousness, because it's a spiritual thing for me now. Watching that and seeing like what we're doing right now, this is nurture.
Yeah.
This is nutrition. I gotta eat, you gotta eat. I'm sure Paul has to eat too. Sometimes 3 times a day, but it's what we sustain ourselves to go forward. It's life.
Yeah.
And you're killing that, by the way, Paul. You're fucking Korean.
Yeah, Paul's Korean and he's managing the grill.
You're fucking Korean barbecue master over there. So cooking for me became more spiritual and meaningful to me, because what we're doing and how you serve people makes a difference. And it's more than just a meal. Community and hanging around and having conversations while you're doing it, that's what's more meaningful. And to share a meal with someone and to be able to sustain life and how we how we are, like I'm sorry, I'm kind of lost for words, but it's it's more important than just
and
cooking a meal.
it's very apparent that you take a lot of value in serving people and watching the joy, because man, you're bomb, dog. You know what I mean? Like some of the best stuff I've had. I'm not just trying to pull your chain. And I know from hearing you talk and knowing you and understanding where you come from, I know you're dumbing it a lot. You like to remain humble. You know what I mean? But I know that you've put in work, right?
Yeah.
And you're really good at what you do, and you really did come up and you did what it took. You came back from adversity, right? Somebody said it. I don't know who. Some smart dude said, "Hey, you know what? Food is to nurture your body, but good food is to nurture your soul." Something like that. You know what I mean? And I think you encompass that saying, because you really do enjoy serving people and seeing the reaction that they get day in and day out, right? So I always told myself, said, man, if I was a one-hit wonder, right? Let's say like I was like Tone Loc with Wild Thing or some shit, and I had to go to malls across America and sing the same damn song day in and day out, it would drive me nuts,
Yes.
right? And then as a DJ, I hate Poison, that song. but big ups to you and chefs who really day in and day out, even though you're making the same thing, there's still like a pride in what you serve and the joy that you see people. Because I know you've told me that, man, a lot of it is to see how people react and bringing people together and enjoy your cooking, which might be even secondary to what you're doing. Because right now we're doing a podcast.
Yeah.
And we're eating, but man, this is really good stuff.
Oh, we have some more goodies in there. But,
yeah,
but
yeah,
thank
yeah.
you, Dan. We're prideful of being able to sustain people, and that's that hospitality part of it.
Yeah.
It's giving up yourself, like straight up. When in the industry, when most people are eating, have a good time, and doing things, we're the ones behind the stoves cooking, and we're the ones in the back cleaning. We're the ones, and you have to accept that and be, I think, cognizant of the fact that you're doing this for others, and if you kind of understand that and make it worthwhile, you'll just go throughout your career being gracious to have that ability to do that.
Yeah.
But not to say not everyone's like that, a lot of people treat it just 9 to 5, which is great. It's back in the day, cooking was not as glamorous as it is now. Right?
Yeah, and I want to talk a lot about that, man.
Please.
But go on what you're saying. And you know what? I think, yeah, cooking was not what it was, but it's a trendy thing right now, and it's been for a while. And I want to talk about how people don't understand the work. So how many times? So let me ask you this: because of the popularity of cooking, trends, fusion cuisine, all this new shit, Food Network, Travel Channel, all of this stuff, right? That show the end product and people and the enjoyment and the coolness about it and the Instagrams and whatever. Talk about how many people want to become chefs, but man, they give up once they realize how much work it actually takes. It's hard work.
Yeah, it's backbreaking work, and you have to commit yourself to it because you're standing on your feet for 10, 12, 14 hours a day. You're lifting, you're pushing, you're bending down. You're like, it's blue collar work, and that's kind of what you have to know expecting it. But you also have to put in that work to get the respect of your peers.
Yeah, because you said you started at Vaughn's, right? And then work your way up. What was your next gig after that? After you got laid off on what was your next food gig?
Food gig after
working in the meat department. Food?
Yeah, the first gig after that was doing notary. I was like in the car.
No, I'm talking about food.
Oh,
what was your next food gig?
Food. Okay, so you graduate, right? I got this job from a former graduate of this school, and big ups to Chef Cecilia over at Ace, because it's those type of people and those mentors who kind of pave the way for you. And so anyway, I got a job at a restaurant of a hotel next to the airport, and so you come in, right, and I don't know nothing. I don't know how to act. I don't know how to be around, be in that environment. Generally in these places in these kitchens, me as an Asian American, you're not the only one who are like you, and the Hispanics are the ones who run the shows are in LA.
Sure.
And most of the country, and so you have to adjust how to work with people, how to get advice from people who are teaching you things from just trying to figure out how to get the job done. And the Hispanics really just paved me the way, but you have to be one of the guys too, meaning you have to really be sociable. You got to, not even just Hispanics, but just anyone in general you work with. Because it's a craft that it's passed along, and certain trade secrets or whatever you don't just figure it on your own. It's from watching other people. It's from failing. It's from burning stuff. It's from slicing yourself. So I didn't know anything at the age of 29, 30 going in the kitchen, and I was scared. I was just like, I don't know.
What were you making, man? What were you, on the line?
I was, what I do. I was like, you start off in the pantry usually. In the pantry is where, you do cold prep, desserts or whatever.
What's cold prep? Like, walk us through this. Like, were you cutting stuff?
Yeah, well.
Like cutting cucumbers?
Precisely. You toss salads. You're a salad tosser. You do all the cold preparation because.
So this is after culinary school.
This is after culinary
school. Culinary school, you're doing the cold prep. Not fabulous, right?
No.
But you started from the ground up.
Yeah, for sure. Man. I would even the very first things I would do is run the breakfast buffet for the hotel, and I would slice fruit and scramble eggs and cook bacon, and I used to start at 5, 6 in the morning. It was part of the hotel, and so you get all these people in there who who are guests of the hotel, and sometimes we would get plane loads of people come in, and so I was in the shits often. Like sometimes when the flight was delayed or people would stay there,
Yeah.
like all right, emergency, you gotta fucking cook shit ton of stuff to feed all these people, and you learn quickly, how to cut corners or how to make your processes faster. But learning in those environments, I think you have to fail. I'm a big proponent of learning to figure it out, failing in order to learn how to succeed.
Yeah.
Whether it's cutting a certain cut or cooking something or heating something up, and you're like I said, you're gonna burn something, you're gonna overcook something.
Yeah.
And it's not gonna taste very good, but you have to go through those trials in order to know how to do it better.
And you went through it with all those with you, like you said, man. You're like on the front line because look, I've known you guys for what 4 or 5 years
At least.
man. The first few times we went out to eat, man. So for all intents and purposes, I would say JP is up there. And again, he tries to remain humble, but he's known. And the way I found out is that we would go to. I remember the first time. I forgot whose birthday it was. Man, we went to this fancy ass restaurant. Because your family loves to do them dinners. And chef comes out. Oh, is that you, JP? Shit. Hey, don't worry about it, man. Just hook up my service. I can't let you pay. Right? I was like, damn. Had to have been 4 figures. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That meal we were deep. I can't let you pay, man. You go ahead and just hook up my service with a fat tip. But then on the other side, we're rolling through the airport when we went to New Orleans, and the homies in the back be like, "What's up, Jay?" You know what I mean? The homies with the hairnet at freaking Homeboy Industries were like, "Hey, dog, where you at?" You know what I mean? Like so that was that's when I knew. I was like, man, this really knows something. I mean, even talking to you right now, I know. You know what I mean? If you're not gonna floss, I'm gonna floss for you, right?
Okay.
This fool's been on TV. This fool's been everywhere. This fool's been around the world. Cooked for the president. Am I allowed to say that? Do you want to cut that one out? No. But I'm saying, check out his IG. But he, you really did put in your work, man. Is my mic on? I can't hear myself. Yeah. Okay. Cool. So when you're talking about, oh, you went to culinary school, and you really did start from the ground up. Even before that, the Vons, in the meat department, and that's what I'm saying earlier is that people don't want to go up the ranks anymore. You know what I mean? They want to do the tweezer food right away with the fusion, but they don't want to be in the grinding it out.
Yeah.
Do you feel the same way?
Yeah, I mean, in general, because our industry has been kind of glamorized with TV or social media or whatever, everyone wants to become a chef, and I love that because that just brings in more talent. And
I would
more
hate
people.
it.
Yeah, I mean, well,
As a DJ, I hated it.
Well, it's an industry that always needs help. Like everyone I talk to, it's like, hey, I'm looking for this person.
Yeah. But as long as they respect the craft.
Yeah, and
Respect the
that's
game, right?
exactly right. Like it's a craft that you really again have to be in the shits and figure it out before you kind of move on.
Yeah.
But
take over, Paul, so you can talk.
where are we getting back at to?
We're talking about putting in these young
put in the
cats
work.
trying to put in the work. They just want that glamorous life, man.
Yeah, I mean, Anthony Bourdain said it all back in the day. Was he came up from humble beginnings too? He shucked oysters and did the omelet station at these certain places, and he in that book Kitchen Confidential, which was a New York Times bestseller, and it's like a huge guide to how to become a cook or how to act and be in the kitchen. That's like one of the first books I picked up. Is you gotta figure out how those what you might think of as tedious jobs, peeling potatoes, whatever. That's you have to go through that, and that book in itself also glamorized it a little bit, but shed a lot of light on how the industry works. But it's also you get to that rock star status. You want to be, be one of the guys and kind of a grinder, and at the end of the day, we're all cooks. If you want to be a chef, you can do all these things, but at the end of the day, we're just grinders, and that's how it should be, I think. But coming through the ranks and figuring it out is definitely key, because I'm not done learning. I'm not even scratch the surface doing all this, because I haven't been in the game long enough, and also being so old in the game, coming in, like I felt I had to catch up like big time to get to anywhere I wanted to be, because you got kids coming out of culinary school who are gunning for your job. They want your station. They want that position that you're holding, and so you kind of got to fend them off and up your game, and that just makes you better at your craft and understanding that. But at the same time, anything that I've learned, all the chefs who kind of put me along the way, it was a mutual agreement that whatever you're going to learn, that's got to be passed on. Because you can acquire all this knowledge, how to do things, but if you're not passing it on, if you're not setting up the next generation, these guys are going to be the young generations are the ones who are going to be working with us, or it's to help propel the industry. And so I think passing it along and not holding back in what you learned is super important also.
Word.
So what does that look like, man?
What does what look like?
Well, I'm kind of curious because you said you got young people coming out of culinary school, and you got to do your thing and make sure that you're always learning, fend them off. You got to pass along knowledge and get people in the mix. So then, what does that mean? Like, how do you learn? How do you share knowledge? Is it apprenticing, or is it?
I mean, it's as simple as just reaching across the prep table and say, hey, this is easier to do it this way. Hey, hold your knife this way. You should set up your station this way. And to say that I knew those things coming in was not even close. But you also have to learn how to run stations in a restaurant too. So a little background on like how kitchens are set up. Drop a little food history, but a lot of what we do is based on the French. You hear a lot of French terms. You hear a lot of French terminology of how it's set up, and that kind of goes back to Antonin Carême, like in the 17th century. And what he would do is, he would work in these hotels or high end, and he was probably one of the ones who pioneered the way a kitchen set up, and that's based on what he called the brigade system, the French brigade system. This is like in the 17th century, and so he pretty much used that as a guide based on the army, because you have different stations, you have different. You have your generals, you have your lieutenants, you got your privates, all the way to the bottom. And so, coming up in the ranks, you would probably start out being a stage or like an intern, and then after that, you'd probably learn, how to be a prep cook, and after that, you could probably learn how to run like a sauce station or a fish station or the grill, whatever, saute, whatever. And so, in that, you have that structure, and that's all so that you can execute a service. And without that structure, you have to figure out who's going to be the what I call the HNIC.
Hey,
Who's leading this ship?
who's in
right?
charge?
Who's in charge? And that kind of goes up top to the chef, because if that restaurant does well, service does well, food's great, it's not going to fall on the guys on the bottom. It's the chef. And so that chef, that general, leads that structure and leads that team, for success. And so talking about how I would come up is that way also. I'm still learning how to do it, but at the same time, I think cooks should go around about and put in their time so that they can work those different positions and stations, so that one day, if they become in that leadership role, they know how to do certain tasks, and they can pass it on to others. But all that is based on passing around knowledge, because you come into a station, the chef's not going to teach you everything right away.
Yeah.
You got to learn from that guy who was at that station before. You got to learn from the guy who's been either slaving away at that stove or that butchering, whatever it is, whatever task he's doing. And that's just passed on. So a lot of it is just crafts and things that you pick up along the way, and at the end, in totality of it, hopefully you have enough knowledge and experience that where you can know how to do these things, these skills. So
We got an eel on here. There's a lot of sauce. Should I flip it?
yeah, dude, give it a flip, see what happens.
Okay, see what happens.
A little sticky. Oh, nice.
There you go.
So Big Dan here brought a nice barbecue eel. We're about to get into now.
I love
but,
that eel.
If you guys haven't noticed, this whole time we've been here, we're just like
We're grubbing. Yeah, I want to hear some dialogue between you and Brian, man, because you and Brian are close. You guys are like bros. You guys came up together.
Yeah,
I just watched a movie. I told you guys, right? The mid-'90s. People got mixed reviews. I loved it. I felt that it freaking some of the stuff that I saw is, mirroring what the fuck we went through in the '90s and the culture and all that stuff. And, and I feel like I'm going through somewhat of a little midlife crisis myself at the moment. But yeah, man, why don't you spit some game? Where you guys come from, dude? L.A. '90s.
Yeah,
Pinoys.
man, growing up, we were attached at the hip.
Hell yeah.
We were inseparable. He lives on the west side. I live out here on the east side. We'd take the train. I mean the bus. He'd meet me at the bus stop.
That number 14 bus?
No, it was the number 4 bus. I'll be like, I'll be there at
That's Santa Monica
10:25.
Drop you off right there in Rexford.
Was that the rough, tough, and dirty? The RTD? No, go ahead. You guys were attached to the hip, kicking it all the time, huh?
Yeah, the first meal he actually took some time and put some stuff together was stuffed mushrooms. I don't know if you remember that, but you're in the kitchen one day at your house, and you just had a bunch of mushrooms. I was like, "What are you doing with that?" I mean, I wasn't a big mushroom guy. We were like probably 14, and he was just chopping up a bunch of stems, some sausages, and some veggies, throwing it on there. I'm like, man, what is this guy doing? Where is he learning all this? So that's the first thing I remember as far back that she cooked for me.
Is that
And
right?
how was it?
It was good. And from then, that's what actually made me like mushrooms. Was that
He turns you out.
turned me out.
Yeah. Was it like the macaroni
What do you
grill? What was it? The
There were some magic mushrooms.
magic mushroom.
I think
You're tripping. That's why.
we're tripping along the way over there. But yeah, man, like
Yeah.
me and Brian, we've gone through our wars cooking together too. Like every time we're at the house or whatever, like for the past few years especially, like me and him will spit game on how to cook something. By the way, I got a present for you, B. Since you're hosting us,
Oh damn!
since you're hosting us here at your pad, Brian just got a smoker, and we've been talking for about like 2 months about like what he's getting, an offset. It's gonna be a ceramic. It's gonna be this or that, and I'm like, dude, like I got a smoker last year, and we've been kind of just going back and forth with it. But as a present, I went to the used bookstore because I love cookbooks, and I got a
Nice.
book for you. It's called The Prophets of Smoked Meat.
Oh, dude.
It's a really dope book, and it's all about Texas. And so here,
Nice.
read
Oh.
that shit.
Hey.
Love Texas barbecue.
There you go.
But actually
'Cause
going
one day
back
we're
and
gonna go
forth.
and freaking go to Texas. And we're gonna try some stuff.
Nice, thanks, man.
But yeah, man, like I still me and Brian like been attached to the hip, but also he supports me in everything I do. We've had each other's back from day one, and coming back in the days, like his brothers and my brothers were also very, very tight. We had two sets of kind of I won't say OGs, but two classes of elder brothers and sisters.
Yep.
And so, with those similarities, we were able to kind of connect also. But me and him were also the youngest, but we also looked up to our brothers too. And look at that deal. So yeah, me and Brian went through the wars around here.
Yeah, you guys aren't from as far as age is concerned. You guys are pretty close in
What,
age.
2 months apart.
Yeah.
Wow, wow.
Hey,
But yeah,
give us Brian. Give us like a war story, man. Give us some what do they call that? Like messed up stories.
Messed up stories.
No, like something cool, man.
man. I mean, there's so many. It's
be
like
careful now, bro.
Incriminating. Is that what it is? Yeah, incriminating.
man, it's hard for me to come up with something off the top of my head.
No, but me and Brian, like we connected really quick. You know, growing up, we shared toys, we shared smokers, we smoked book. Like we would pretty much connect almost every day. We call each other almost every day, and we just we were able to enjoy our careers. You know, he used to come at me over at Vaughn's, and he used to watch me like scrub the meat and just kick it with me on a random ass day.
Yeah, I'd watch
you know,
you scrub
like
the meat.
you know, he'd go all the way to the valley and go hang out with me just to chill.
Pause. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and Brian could get down too.
I mean, the
Big
reason
time.
why I like cooking is actually because of you. I mean, whenever I'd be cooking something simple as like a steak or something, he'd be like, "Oh, try this, try that, try adding this," and
Yeah.
ever since then, I like mac and cheese. I like mac and cheese. I would just boil some macaroni and melt some cheese in the microwave, and this guy's like, "This thing is called a roux." So this is how you do it.
Yeah, right.
And I was like, oh, okay. So ever since, stuff like that, he'll come over, he'll give me pointers, and he's actually, that's kind of the reason why I got into like barbecuing and smoking, was because he would give me all this information. I'd be like, oh, that's pretty good. And I love barbecuing, I love cooking, I love steak. And he's like, try this, try that. So I'm like, oh, dude. So I started getting into it, looking into it, and here I am.
Yeah.
Because of JP.
Well,
Yeah, no, he could get down. Brian, you know. But I think Paul could get down too. What's your go-to, Paul? What do you like to make, man?
I don't know, man. We've been messing around with Korean food a lot.
That's the best, man. Love
Yeah,
Korean food.
yeah. Trying to drill down a little bit, I guess.
Like you talking about like old school Korean, like because Korean people. When I talk to them, they say you guys aren't defined by barbecue like a lot of people think, right? Like, come on now. So like you're talking about like stews, like
Yeah.
deep.
A lot of stews in Korean food. I think everyone thinks Korean barbecue right away, but then all the side dishes, the banchan, it's really interesting. I think there's an opportunity for Korean vegan food, just because so many Korean dishes are actually vegetarian and not meat based, and so there's a lot of flavor with the red chili flakes and sesame oil and everything else. So yeah, man. I mean, just learning about culture.
You have any
heritage.
questions for JP on technique?
On technique? No, man. I don't cook that much.
Truth be told, any
about
pointers
technique.
any pointers you can give so break it down, because one of the things, JP, whenever we talk, when I first met you, and then you say somebody's a chef, there's a little bit of intimidation factor, right? Like you don't want to, I don't want to pretend I know what I'm talking about. You've always been super easy to talk to, and I think you've always kept well grounded in the food game, right? So like oh, it's just cooking. Don't worry about it.
It's just food.
What do you think people should know though? Like, what's your pet peeve? What do you hate? What should people do?
What irks chefs?
Yeah.
Oh man, there's a huge list, but just having that drive and having that willingness to just take it, because back in the day, I got screamed at, I got like railed about not doing something right, and
You gotta have thick skin, right?
you have to have thick skin, and you get that from I think knowing that, hey, this person's probably saying this stuff to me because he wants me to learn. He or she wants me to learn.
Or they're just freaking frustrated because they gotta get the food out.
Yeah, that too. It's so think about what the biggest difference of what I was doing before. It was cubicle, pushing email, pushing paper. There's no immediate satisfaction in that. There's no sense of urgency, and when you kind of get into the business, everything matters at that point, because you got to get the food out. Mm-hmm. You got to get it hot and fresh and at the peak to the guest. And if you're serious about your craft, you try to follow those things, because at the end of the day, for me, it's all about the food.
Yeah.
And in the core of everything, we're all cooks. You can be executive for this, you can incorporate that, you can be, at the end of the day, we're just cooks. And if you don't hone your skills as going messing stuff up and perfecting it as best you can, then it's really hard to say.
Yeah, but what irks you, dog? Like overdone eggs? Motherfucker, overdone eggs, or like noodles not al dente? Like, what is it?
Oh, probably it's got to be like a miss prep shitty station, right? Like you got to be able to go to battle, and like if a certain cook's like station isn't set up properly, or they're kind of messy about things, they don't clean as you go, that kind of irks me too. And that's just because
don't catch me in the kitchen. But, okay, go ahead.
that just that irks a lot of people. But certain skills that you need to learn is like showing up on time.
Yeah.
Come in early, stay late. Do whatever it takes to get that station or get your prep out, because you live and die by your prep.
Word.
And if you're not, prep is short for preparation. If you're not prepared to put out a certain dish, then you have to have other people jump in and help you. And you want to be that guy. You want to be that cook, that person in the kitchen where it's like, hey, I got this. I got that station. Don't worry about me. Just worry about something else. Because the chefs, they're thinking about like so many other things than where you put your salt and pepper. They're worried about the guest satisfaction. They're
Sure.
worried about the plumber who's going to come tomorrow and fix that leak, or if something goes down, like the chef's mind is racing constantly about certain things. And if you run a shop properly, you have to be on top of those things, because you're just not responsible for the food. You're responsible for the whole crew and the success of the business. And so even just wasting product is a pet peeve to me too, because hey, are you cutting that properly? Are you?
Oh yeah, I could see that. I hate
Yeah,
wasting food myself.
Is there a lot of waste? Or are you trimming off too much of that? And at the end of the day, you want to have a sustainable business so that we all have jobs in the morning.
Sure.
So, but if you cut corners, you throw stuff away that you shouldn't be. If you don't label properly, these are just basic things, basic cook 101 things that everyone should know. And rotating your stuff, and keeping food safety in mind, all that stuff. Like you gotta be able to make sure that you're firing on all cylinders, so that for the totality of the team, like we all succeed and we all fail together. So if there's a shitty service, no one's gonna blame that one small thing. It's the whole team that goes down.
Word.
But yeah, those are some of my pet peeves.
Okay. All right. And here's your next question for everybody. You're on death row.
Oh no.
You get your last meal. You get 5. You could pick. I think they allow them like 5 items.
Yeah.
What is it? 5
items. All right. So this list I probably may have mentioned, but I've gone through this list over and over again, because it's I don't know, just what nerdy food heads go through.
Yep.
Think about, you kind of over obsess about things. And so 1, for breakfast. I'm gonna give you courses here. Give you fucking courses, because this is how much I thought about it. So for breakfast, it's gonna be a ham and cheese croissant. Why? Come in high school or college, that food truck goes over there, or you go to that donut shop
like the Roach Coach.
Yeah, man. Like I would always have a ham and cheese croissant, or I'd go to that donut shop before I go to class, and that was just a quick, easy meal. But it just tastes freaking good. Along with the coffee, that's my breakfast. Okay. Now, if we go into lunch, one of my favorite things to eat is also a tuna melt. I don't know why, but
From
it's
anywhere,
just freaking
anywhere
great.
in particular?
I'm a ham and cheese and tuna melt aficionado. Like your homie was a bud aficionado. I love ham and cheese croissants and tuna melts. I think that's my love for cheese.
Yeah.
But I don't know. There's one spot. Again, I go back to Tommy's number 72 out there on Sawtell and Pico, and this guy used to make this bomb tuna melt.
Still there?
No, it went down in a fire like 2 years ago or a year ago, and I'm still waiting for them to open up. But every time I'm on the west side, I'll try to come by and pick it up. But on top of that, like we're also, our likes and dislikes are also associated with our food memories, right? Like just like I go to the Roach Coach or that donut shop for tuna melts, like me, my bro, and me and Danny, we'd go to this spot and like have the munchies like crazy at like 2 a.m. This is a 24-hour spot, and then we'd get chili cheese fries and a tuna melt. And so those are the food memories that kind of drop back to you. And I think what your likes or dislikes, what you consider to be bomb or not, like it's based a lot of what you think is good because of what you had in the past. And not even just like past because it tastes good, just because, hey, it reminds me of This
brings you
thing.
back to that place.
Exactly.
All right, you got 3 more dishes, man.
Three more. I just got one more. I'm dying tomorrow, dude. It's death row.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, yeah. What's for dinner?
What's for dinner? Okay. It's got to be a bone-in ribeye steak, medium rare. Hands down.
Prepared how?
Probably cooked on this thing,
Oh, you
on this
cook
bencho
that
grill.
thing?
Yeah.
What, season with what?
Just salt and pepper.
Salt and
Easy.
pepper.
That's
Easy,
it. I
breezy?
don't even need any sides. Just cook it like that.
Word.
But the memory behind that is, come in the meat department, like we'd slice ribeyes, and I'd learn meat fabrication and all that stuff. And early on in my career, I'd learn about what goes into a cut of meat. And so, those probably rounded about as my top 3 for sure.
All right, Paul, talk to me, homie.
Ooh. All right, so I don't have courses, but let's see. I'd probably say Japanese barbecue,
From anywhere? Wagyu Kaku?
Tsuruhashi up in Fountain Valley.
That place is the bomb. Been there,
Very
dog.
good, very good, very good. Just going back to food memories, just being able to sit at a table, grill right in front of you, throw things down. One of the very few places left where the servers will actually pour the beer for you, which I think is a classy touch. Probably say sushi. Gotta have sushi before I go.
Any particular kind, or you gonna ask for the chef special?
Oh yeah, man! I want omakase.
You want omakase? All right.
I'm gonna write this thing out, dude.
Hell yeah.
Fried chicken, pizza, and then Korean.
Fried chicken
Kimchi
from where?
stew.
This is a great debate for me because I'm probably the only one in this motherfucker that likes fried chicken.
Oh, is that?
From where?
I don't know, man. Well, all right. So I haven't had Howlin' Ray's yet, which I know I've heard it's really, really damn good. Worth the 3-hour wait. But if I had to just pick one, just on the spot, I'd probably say Honey Kettle.
Right there in Culver City, right? Yeah. That's bomb.
Word.
I had to wait at least 45 minutes for that one.
Oh yeah, yeah. And then what was it? Oh yeah, Korean kimchi stew. And then
Chicken?
yeah.
Mom? From mom?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Do I have any left?
One more.
Shit.
Y'all motherfuckers don't like dessert? You fools don't got a sweet tooth?
Oh, damn it. I don't know, man. Some cake. It don't matter. I like all cake.
But dessert is important. I used to go out with chefs all the time and to go eat, and when the chefs go out and grub, we just like order everything on the menu. And
Yeah.
the chef was like, "All right, one of everything on the dessert." I'm like, "Damn, dude!" And it's like a meal's not complete until you have that sweet.
Well, that's because if it's anything like when we went for that birthday, you don't have to pay for it. Brian, talk to me, homie.
Oh man, fried chicken for sure.
From where?
I'll
You gotta
even-
be specific,
I'll even
dude.
take hot wings from KFC.
That's what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah.
I'll have a grilled cheese for sure.
From that you made yourself, because you make a killer grilled cheese. FYI.
I'll take it from anywhere, man. A Tina's burrito.
Okay.
What, 3 for 99 cents?
Hell yeah. Dude, those got me through some rough times. And I had JP cook me a brisket. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
Hell yeah, that's
helping
what's up, man.
How about you, Dan? What's on your list?
Shit. Oh man, let me see. I got definitely Popeye's fried, the 2-piece meal of Popeye's fried chicken with Cajun rice. Gotta have the Cajun sparkle.
Spicy.
You guys know about the Cajun sparkle, by the way?
Cajun sparkle?
Yeah, when you go to Popeyes, ask for those Cajun sparkles. These little packets, and it's a seasoning blend that you can put on your chicken. It's really good, dude.
Oh, yeah.
Or I like to mix it with my ketchup. I like that chicken ketchup. You know what I'm saying? And then definitely sushi for sure. My mom's kare kare, which is oxtail peanut butter stew, for sure. And then I don't know, man. It's a toss up, man. I really like the Jumbo Jack, and I really like the Famous Star.
Damn.
But I really like In-N-Out too.
Got
So
it now.
fuck that. TDM carne asada burrito con crema, right there on Saviors and Oxnard. All at me.
Nice. That's a good list, man. I think we should go eat right now.
Hell yeah. Cool, man. Anything else you guys want to talk about? Any other questions for JP? Hey, JP, anything else you want to say? I'm gonna leave it open for him, and I actually got to go to the restroom, so handle it.
Do your thing.
So would you be open to people contacting you for cooking
Dude,
services?
I don't say no to anything right now because I spent the last
You want
pretty
to throw
much.
out your IG out there?
It's JP Bikes LA. One word.
Nice.
So
There you
Sugar
go.
knows.
JP Bikes LA.
Yeah, but I think one thing I want to touch upon is also, you know, the food history of cuisine is important also, and you know, learning the craft, either it's like reading books or tasting and, you know, trying to decipher a menu or trying to progress as a chef is important. So, you know, it all goes back to trying to honing your craft and Sugar wants a little love over there. There you go. But, you know, as stepping away, you know, like I want to touch upon like women in an industry.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You know, I know your sister, you know, celebrated, you know, Women's Month, and you know, we talk about the Me Too movement and stuff, and you know, how the industry is changing thus far. It used to be all just a male-dominated.
Yeah, and they
industry.
used to talk about how the girls used to be like, you know, even the front of the house women kicking it with the chefs.
Yeah.
Crazy fucking stories
You know,
that are not cool.
Yeah, I mean, but let me tell you this: like, the chefs who I've trained with and learned from, and even my teacher from culinary school, like these are women, and I feel in my personality I click a lot with a lot of the women chefs because for whatever reason. But you know, you have to be in this industry as a woman, or even for that matter, a minority. Like I was a minority as an Asian guy in a mostly Latino kitchen. You know, to do a lot of stuff, but as a
Wait,
woman,
was it Asian guy in a mostly Latino kitchen with the face of a white boy? Was it like is that how it works?
was that?
Like in your restaurant, you're a Filipino dude in a mostly Mexican kitchen with a white boy executive chef.
Usually, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good makeup,
Yeah,
right, Paul?
yeah, yeah.
And as that's a face of the kitchen. Not
Yeah.
all, but you know, a majority. But as a woman, like I think the chef I trained with, Chef Cecilia, like she told the stories where like she's in the 70s, 80s, and she had to stand up for herself. Like she had to like try harder than the next person. You know, she had to, you know, don't be so womanly. Me like, oh, can you grab that for me? No, like I'm gonna get a little crate and I do it myself. And she had to prove herself. And I think, you know, much respect to those who are able to strive in the industry. And there's a lot of, for as much, you know, on the list of top chefs, like I think there should be more women, and there are, and definitely coming up. And also, you know, there's a lot of skills that I think women bring to the table that men don't. Like one of my mentor chefs said, you know, there's that woman touch, that female touch to either a certain dish or how we present, you know, service or something like that. That's irreplaceable. That none of the men can do. You know, there's a little femininity, or I want to say, you know, like attention to details that a lot of men don't have. And you know, it's just, you know, reading Mars or women from Mars, men, or whatever.
Yeah.
Men from Mars, women from Venus. But like our chemical makeup is different. But you know, kind of round about that story is like I think, you know, the Me Too movement and women in industry, I think they should get a little more, you know, respect for doing what they do in the kitchen and doing stuff that, you know, which is considered blue collar, that you know, should be respected.
Word. You wanted to shout out somebody that made a big impact in your career earlier, because we were talking about like the embroidery for, you know, our sponsor and hitting them up for some stuff. But talk about that, man.
Well, Chef Matt was a guy who really shaped me as a chef, because you know he kind of, and again, you got to cling on to those mentors, those people who kind of had a, you know, who are success stories and know how to treat people. And Chef Matt was a guy who I respect highly. I probably wouldn't be in the kitchen as long as I was if not for, you know, a mentor like that. And you know, for those who know that, you know, he took care of his people. You know, he was adventurous as a chef. He was a little bit. He was cut. His cloth was cut a little different than everyone else. He you know, he gained the respect for just how he treated people.
Yeah.
And simple small gestures, like, you know, one time we were at a party and, you know, an event, and you know, we did a plate up, we fed X amount of people, and then towards the end, you know, a simple gesture was like, all right, clean up another 10 more. I'm like, why? We're done. We're done with service, chef. Like, we're done. We can clean up. I didn't really say that, but that's what I was thinking. And he was like, no, we're going to serve the front of the house staff. We're going to serve the dishwashers. We're going to make them a meal. And, something as simple as that, just like, hey, like, take care of, like, you pick up on that. So like, oh, shit, you're right. We got to take care of our people. And, back in the day also when, my mom was going through her stuff and, she was sick and, like, they were gracious enough to give me time off. And, like, they didn't even know me for 6 months.
So you were working for this Chef Matt dude when your mom was sick?
Yeah. I mean, a huge reason of that was why I stayed was because of the way they treated me and the way they held me in their arms and like, all right, whatever you need. And they provided, hey, whatever you need, a job when I came back, like when the memorial, like they put out sandwiches or whatever it is, small gestures like that, whatever you need.
Goes a long way.
And lo and behold, he at the same time he was suffering from pancreatic cancer. And that's a very debilitating, hard to get over kind of thing, and that's why cancer and food and it all kind of means so much because of how it's affected not only me but so many other people, and so finding those people who inspire you, every day. Like I thank the stars I've trained with some of the best, and work with some of the best, and I don't have very many friends besides you guys, but those who in industry who I've met in the past like 10, 15 years, like these are lifelong relationships.
Yeah.
That I know like I can come back to because you literally go to war with these guys. You go to war with like when you're going through our service, you're going through
every day, right?
Like everyday things. Like all right, who's good at what, who can bang at what, she's good at that, he's gonna do that. And when you have like an event or service, and you can trust on that person, that man to your left and that girl to your right. It's really a huge camaraderie thing in the kitchen that, you pull off a successful service, and it's because we pulled together for whatever it was.
Or you get a fucked up service and you still together, right?
Yeah,
like,
you
fucked up together.
Believe me, like I've had some fucked up services.
Yeah. And you know what though, man? Cheers to Chef Matt and your moms and your dad.
Yeah.
Everybody. I got you right here, man. We got the Japanese joint.
Yeah, I get that real stuff.
Rest in peace to everybody involved.
Sir,
Good shit, guys.
Good shit.
There you go.
All right, last couple of questions, Jay. What piece of advice would you give somebody who is looking to cook?
Looking to cook.
There's a lot of guys that like, I think I could cook and I want to do it.
Find mentors. Read, study. Learn your craft.
Put in the work.
Know a little food history, and so like know how we came to this point in food, and respect each other's like differences, and learn different cuisines. But I think if I can say one person you go to Chef Cecilia over at Ace, and she'll teach you everything that I know. She's out there in Woodland Hills, and she's like an amazing teacher, and she kind of just set us up for success. And really put you through the right paths, but keep your head down, shut the fuck up when it's time to shut the fuck up. Work, play when it's time to play, but get the job done. Like just know that you're gonna put in work, and that it also takes not more than just an individual, but you got to have support in so many ways. Me in my corner, I got my wife. And without that support, knowing like, hey, like kitchen times are tough, kitchen hours are tough. You'll be working weekends and missing birthdays. Like I know miss a couple of Brian's birthdays or any events that's going on. Like just know that like you're gonna miss special events. And if you can understand that and have that support, like without my wife taking care of the ship at home, I would not be able to do this shit.
Word.
And if you have that support system that allows you to do this, then that just makes you a stronger person in the industry. But
So step one, find a wife.
yeah,
Or don't find a wife.
or don't find a
Or
wife.
don't have a wife.
But and that's why like in this industry also like there's I've seen a lot of strained relationships. People lose out of touch with their significant others.
Yeah. Because you guys fucking party too much afterwards.
Well, that's another thing too. Substance abuse is a huge issue in the industry also.
Yeah,
but,
dude, for sure.
Could we Anthony Bourdain used to call the industry like the people who get into this are the misfits of society. Meaning, hey, you couldn't make it into the office, so I'm gonna find something else to do. I couldn't make it with
Tortured souls.
tortured souls. That's exactly where we are. But I think in the kitchen, it's a great equalizer because when you get in there, like everyone's equal, the same. It doesn't matter the background I come from. You come from, it's very humbling when you're working with all sets of classes of people, different ethnicities. But being in the kitchen where you have those types of diversities is also a plus too, because I don't know how to cook Mexican food if we didn't have staff meal chilaquiles or so many huevos rancheros, because I wouldn't know how to cook that. But so you have to always be curious about stuff too. And so they, when I go to certain people's stations, like some of these guys have been doing this forever. There's one pasta guy who's been doing his pasta for 25, 30 years, whatever it is, and he's just a master at his craft. And
like Giro, Giro.
That's exactly it. He's like the Giro pasta, and and every kitchen, everyone's got these cornerstones, and if you just sit there and ask questions and watch them and watch motions, watch their movements, like how to make the pasta, how to roll it, how does he unwasted movements,
and do it about 10,000 times.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like you just watch him. Like sometimes I'll just watch.
Drill.
Yeah, just drill and just watch him and be like, oh, man, like I didn't think of doing that move. It's all about moves, like call Chef pro moves. Hey, how do I get to point A to point B the quickest way possible?
You gotta keep your elbows up.
Yeah, but the corners side to side.
You guys got any last questions for the big dog?
No, I don't.
I have one question.
What's up?
Do you prefer quiet kitchens or loud kitchens?
That's a great question. That's a really good question. Music is a huge ingredient in the kitchens I work in.
I fucking love that.
I'm a hip hop head to the core, and also as I've had the privilege to run a couple shops, and I'm the chef. I got to play the music. So
Chef DJ.
I would actually get the aux and play whatever it is I wanted, and certain moods for different things, right?
Yeah.
So, and this is that's why I enjoyed that DJ episode with DJ Gav and
Ace Deuce.
Yeah. And because that stuff intrigues me also. So loud kitchens, I bump it when I want to play hip hop and get the crowd, get the crew going or something upbeat. I literally do. I this is a conscious effort for me to play something that gets it going. And then on Friday, everyone usually sometimes in this one kitchen.
Reggae Fridays.
There was a thing called Reggae Sundays. There was something called Reggae Sundays over at this one place because it was chill. There was not many people in the kitchen, but we'd have Reggae Sundays, and me and some of the reggae heads would get together. Like, oh shit, you got the aux today,
Yeah.
But I even have cleanup songs. All right, it's time to go. It's like, all right, something you go through service, and then, all right, we got to get the energy back up. Like, I get these fuckers to start cleaning faster.
Yeah.
So I play something uppity.
So what's a cleanup song?
Cleanup song. So
Clean up.
yeah, little Dora. I just go back to hip hop. Like something upbeat.
Just name one.
Name
two.
one. Okay. I would always put on Biggie. I'd always put on Wu-Tang, Tribe, something something that hits hard.
Yeah.
But let me tell you, when I'm by myself,
Yeah.
I don't play all that stuff. I like that because
Slow
it moves the
jams.
crowd. I do listen to slow jams when I'm
Jodeci.
doing myself, but electronic, ambient stuff that you just listen, or just it's just brainless stuff. I'm just cutting away with my board. That's what I would do.
Hell yeah.
And then for all the Pisces out there, I would play a bunch of banda, dude. And
Yeah.
I learned to love that stuff, and
Yeah, because
it gets you going.
they're talking about pushing Ye, right? On 90% of those songs. Hey, Steve's telling us we got 2 minutes on the memory card. Mm-hmm. So you got any parting words? What's up next, bro?
Next, now that I'm in this freelancing mode and this kind of I'm my own boss a little bit, hit me up for catering. I like cooking for people. Let me go to your house. Let me do some stuff.
Yeah,
I also like to collab with people too.
Okay, so let's take it a step up. Let's have the Basic Buzz host a party, and open invitation. This is scary. It could be one person that shows up. It could be 100. You know what I mean? But let's throw a little let's throw a little boogie, show off your skills,
Yeah, let's do that.
and say what's up. Summertime.
Summertime. It's the act, like we just talked about, right? It's the act of
Yeah.
getting together over food and just being with one another and enjoying food and having joined another company. That's what's more important to me.
On that note, that's a good way to exit, man. Thanks, dog. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you, best buds.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, man. Good shit. Out.
Channel all your chi unless you get up off that mat, homie, that's all it's gonna be. And not the charity, I'm talking solidarity shit. That's why I'm good in every hood, cause I take care of my shit. Rah. Q-Bird. Bam, brah. Yeah. Yeah. Invisible scratch.